Hello everyone! Today I am sharing how to make this easy fireworks in the night sky tablescape. This is based off of my hanging table arch, or my table arch that I have used for many projects now. So if you don't already have a table arch or familiar with it, I'll link to it later. But it's very simple. We just need some of these fireworks that are LED that you can buy on Amazon or online. They're going to be suspended up here from my copper table arch. I happened to spray paint mine with some darker spray paint that I had on hand because I didn't want there to be heavy contrast. I bought some fringe curtain from Amazon. I'll link to that below. Just a basic tinsel kind with a little bit of holographic edge. Now, when I bought my firework LEDs from Amazon, they looked like I was buying, or I thought I was buying, two pairs of three different kinds. Turns out they were two of them were the same, but either way, I came up with some schematics of the order that I want my fireworks to come in and look like. So if you have a whole bunch of the same fireworks, you don't need to do this step, but I did. Super easy, just using some basic zip ties. I created a little bit of a loop chain for some of them to create different heights, and I highly recommend hanging the fireworks at some point early on to fluff them out and not try to hold them and fluff them. It'll go way easier if they're already hanging up. So before I tighten my zip ties, I wanted to see how they were looking when they were layered next to each other, because I'm trying to create multiple heights in these fireworks since the fireworks themselves are all the same size. So I tightened my shortest one, or the one that I knew would be my shortest string, and ultimately decided with the other ones I liked the varied heights, so I didn't tighten them as much, so I left them as is. Here's what they look like from a little bit of a distance. So far they were off to a really good start. I flipped the cut ends of my zip ties at the top end down, so that way it was a nice smooth surface for the plastic, tinsel curtains to get adhered to, since I heard in the reviews that people shared online that it doesn't always have the best stickiness on the back. I did not find that to be the case. Mine was very sticky, so I didn't have a problem. But just keep that in mind depending on what surface you're using. Now, I bought a pack of 4 of these tinsel curtains, knowing that I was going to have a little bit of a gap because of the length of my table. So make sure you measure your curtains ahead of time and the width of whatever you're hanging these on, so you know how much you need. Now, I got, like I said, a pack of 4, and I have 2 curtains on the back, 2 curtains on the front, but I used one of the back curtains and cut out a little section to fill in that gap on the front or most outer facing part of my table arch. So now in the back you can see everything looks nice and pretty, but I want to be able to sit on both sides of my table, so I want to make sure that the back side gets covered too. So that's what I'm going to be working on next, but I just wanted you guys to see what just half of it looks like. Now, given that I knew that one side of my table got more traffic than the other, I wanted to make sure the big curtain that was still intact started on that side. The little piece that was cut off of the, let's say the 4th curtain, you can see there's a 4th curtain down at the end that's a little shorter. That was done on purpose because we're going to have a gap in the middle where at the time I thought I was going to need a denser backdrop anyways, because I wasn't planning on putting in my remaining firework. But as I was looking at it, I really thought I wanted as many fireworks as I could get, but unfortunately that came later. I started doing my trimming, and I highly recommend you do one side at a time and have a chair or something on hand that you can drape the extra fringe from, because it gets everywhere. And just like cutting your own hair or somebody else's hair, it's easier to cut a little bit longer than you need and go back in later and shorten it up and trim it up, which is what I ended up doing. So don't worry about it not getting it right at the first pass through. Just take your time, cut a little bit off, take a few feet back, look at it, and that's you're seeing little changes here and there. Now at this point, I've cut pretty much just the first side of my fringe background. Started working on the back side. You can see how it's draped over the edge of the table on that back portion there. And at no length of the curtain that I left on did I leave it longer than the table itself. So not being 100% sure what I was doing in the middle, I decided let me just cut the middle portion down to the base of the table, so I know it won't be longer than that, obviously. But I needed to fix my gap that I had from cutting the part of a curtain for the front gap. Oh yeah, so many gaps that we're fixing. So I used some clear cellophane, essentially wrap like you would use for a gift basket or something, cut a portion a little bit larger than what I had a need for, and then using some double-sided tape, essentially am making my own little curtain using all of the cut pieces that I trimmed off of the table, which was more than enough, and I still have a pile of extra trim from the part that I cut. So this is a nice way to be a little bit more eco-friendly or cheaper, because it's staying out of the landfill a little bit longer, and you're saving yourself a couple extra bucks because you're not buying a whole other curtain piece to go up. It is a little bit time consuming. It probably took me like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to do because you're putting them on piece by piece, but in my opinion, it was worth it, and I don't mind. I will say, if you bought the holographic black finish, like what I link below, make sure you put all your holographic pieces forward. And if you have a matte finish, or it's maybe a matte finish on one side, a gloss finish on the other side, just make sure whatever your strands are that you want outward facing are the ones that you can see there. So another piece or two of double-sided tape, and you'd never really know unless you look at all of that top part where all of the little fringes are. Even though I trimmed them, they're still a little uneven. So I just used some good old regular clear tape across the top on all of the entire bar, and just taped everything down so it was a nice smooth surface on the top, and it looks beautiful. Now, the fun part begins where you can trim up some of the fireworks a little bit more if you want, create more jagged angles, play with the firework settings to see what kind you like. This is where it's really fun. Obviously, I'm using multicolored fireworks, but if you're using the all white ones, you just have to worry about your settings. I think the colorful ones are just a little bit more festive, so I enjoyed them. But at night, they look awesome. And don't worry, you're going to keep fluffing and fussing with them over time. You're going to keep changing your settings that you want the fireworks to blink at. Enjoy the process, and just know that it's a 3D object that you're creating here, a 3D sculpture. And so from every angle, it's going to look differently. So don't worry if it's not 100% perfect from every angle. It is fine. Just enjoy the fireworks. And I'm really glad that I got the holographic fringe curtain. I'm sure it's probably just a minuscule difference of what you're seeing reflected, but look at the fringe curtain that you're seeing. Look at that tinsel, and it's colorful from the lights, but it's also colorful because there's that holographic iridescent finish in it, which I think adds to it that little extra. So for now, I'll roll some footage of the beautiful fireworks on the table. Enjoy. wherever it's setting, where it's just a nice, slow, blinking glow of the fireworks. Not too much into the party mode, just a nice, relaxing fireworks. You can really see the iridescence in the tinsel curtains. I think they were a great choice. I'm glad I opted for them. They were really quick to ship on Amazon, so that's where I'm going to link to, because that's where I got mine from. Wherever you get them, I don't care. They are worth it. We were able to enjoy a lovely dinner for two under here, but I definitely plan on keeping this up through New Year's and into January to celebrate my birthday. And if you guys are missing fireworks because of the pandemic and there's no large gatherings in your area, this might be a fun way to bring the fireworks to you in your home.